This the TempahZone podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are listening to this podcast right here. This is episode 64 of the TempahZone podcast with your host, me, Amir Max, and that's all facts, aka Mr. Versatile, aka Young Steven A-OK. Okay. On this week's episode, y'all, I have Boslyk, an EDM duo, and I'm really excited to have these guys on, not only because their music is fire, because I don't get too many EDM people on this show. And for those of you who don't know me too well, you know I love hip hop and R&B, but I also love EDM a lot. So I'm really happy to have these guys on the show to ask them all the questions that I've been wanting to ask an EDM artist or duo, just in general. So really happy to have these guys on. Hope y'all enjoy the interview. All right, what's going on, y'all? Episode 64, TempahZone podcast. I got Boslyk in the building with me. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having us.
I'm happy we make this happen. You know, funny thing, I don't get too many EDM people on my podcast. Actually, I don't think it really ever happens. So to have y'all on the show is definitely really dope. I'm definitely vibing with that.
For sure. Appreciate you having us on.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in terms of just like, other than EDM, obviously, what other inspirations do you guys draw from? Because EDM is definitely one of those things that pulls from like all genres. So what other genres do you guys mess with that gets you going?
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Who wants to answer first? You got it, Andrew.
I would say, like, before I was in a band that was playing like more like post-hardcore stuff, so like A Day to Remember kind of stuff. So definitely some inspiration from that style. Definitely like a lot of like pop punk. Those kind of translate over to like definitely some more like heavier dance music, I would say.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's got that like aggressive vibe to it. Yeah, no, those definitely like play into that. That's the beauty of EDM. Like you really can like just take from other genres, and it usually finds a way to work. You know, I definitely like I feel like with hip hop, when you take from other genres, it can come off as corny a lot. But EDM, I feel like the possibilities are endless. You know what I mean? In terms for you, Ryan, what do you feel about where do you get your inspirations from?
Sure. It's tough. I grew up like playing trumpet, so like a lot of like orchestral music growing up. But I mean, as far as like influences, I mean, like a lot of hip hop. Like the first album I ever bought was "Beg for Mercy" by G Unit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was like 7.
The most gangsta shit.
You know, legit. You know, hip hop, R&B. I mean, I got a lot of influences from my family. Like my grandparents introduced me to like jazz music, like Frank Sinatra. My brothers introduced me to a lot of like hip hop and like 90s, like 80s rock. My parents both introduced me to like more of like the 60s and 70s stuff. You know, it's like it's a lot. Like I listen to country like for a hot minute, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of all over the place. Like you know, there's like very little music that I'd be like, yo, turn that shit off.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's really just all over the place.
That's dope, man. And you know, you guys being EDM artists, like I feel like you have to listen to everything. You'd be holding yourself back if you were just to listen to only pop or, you know, rap. You know, you gotta try rock,
sure,
B, and country. You got, you know, diversify. So that's definitely that's dope. That's dope. Definitely. Now I gotta ask you. I mean, we're doing this for a reason. So, this quarantine, how has it switched up y'all plans? How have you guys tried to adapt to this? Who wants to answer first?
I'll go first. So this is, I don't know, it's a weird time.
Hell yeah.
But both of us are just kind of you know what I mean? But both of us have always just kind of been in the mindset of just like, you know, you gotta make things happen, whatever means necessary, really. So we've been using this program called TeamViewer. One of our friends, our videographer and photographer, Ryan LaCourse, had mentioned it to us before, and essentially we're able to screen share so one of our screens, and then we're both able to control. I'm sure there's other programs that do it too, but that's just like essentially you know what we do. Like a lot of like basically all of our work now is on a PC at Andrew's house. And then I have like my laptop, but we usually just use it for like writing demos or for like traveling.
Okay.
And I mean, like we talk every day about music. Like we're always like, whether it's like it has to do with like business and marketing, like new ideas, like new music that's coming out from somebody else, just like stuff that we want to do. Like we like basically plan a whole like week in advance of like what we're gonna do for our schedule. So it's just a matter of like, hey, like I'm gonna like record these vocals at my house. We'll plug it into the project file on your end, and just whatever we can do. Really, it's a godsend that we have technology.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that. I was like thinking, like, with all this stuff going on, like if this was 1920, I mean, like, no one could communicate with anybody.
Nothing.
Like,
Nothing.
at least communicate with each other. So, like,
tin cans and a string.
Yeah, right.
And like writing letters.
Yeah, writing letters and stuff is crazy. So thank God we're able to communicate and still keep things rolling. Like a lot of stuff doesn't have to slow down unless it's like athletics. Like this stuff we could just bring it to a lower level. We could artists definitely can still work. There's no excuse for artists out there to not work. Like
legit, literally legit.
Yeah, so like, and if you're an artist and you didn't have a microphone, you couldn't record at home. Shoot, I don't know what to tell you because it's hard to order stuff right now. Have you guys tried ordering stuff?
Dude, I mean, I've ordered some stuff from Amazon and it hasn't been bad. I will say, however, we were in the middle of working and
like last week,
and I took out my headphones and like I have Audio Technica like MX40s, and usually like they have some give, they have some stretch. I don't know what I did. I don't know if I just pulled them at the wrong angle, but they just like one of the phones just like where it connects just snapped. And I was like, oh, and man. He's like, did that just break? And I was like, yeah. So I like literally right then and there, like we stopped and I just went on Sweetwater. I don't know if you heard of that website. It's just like Sweetwater. It's like another like, you know what I mean?
It's like is it like it's like I feel like when it comes to like music products, they keep like a bunch of them on there. Like I don't know if they only sell music products, but I know that's like a big focus on.
Yeah, they have like a pretty wide range.
Yeah, and they have good customer support and like I guess pretty fast shipping because I ordered Audio Technica 50s and they came probably in like 4 days, like that week. Like I think we were probably working on Monday. I think they came on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
not
so
bad.
It was quick. I mean, everything else seems to be all over the place. Like as far as like shipping goes, like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You never know.
Yeah, like with Amazon, I know Amazon's been like real crazy. Maybe because it's just such a big, corporation. There's some mess ups, but I mean, yeah, man, it's just it's crazy times we're in. But I mean, I feel like for artists, like in these times, we're probably gonna come out with some of our best music, because we're just locked in right now. Yeah, literally.
For real.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, there's like not much else you can do. It's like if you have to work from home, take care of that. But after that's done, like got no excuse to work on stuff.
You really don't. I'm home right here like all day. Like I had to like dig up my mic and like my interface because I'd been recording at like a studio, but I'm like, well, I guess we gotta stay home. So I had to dig up all my old stuff from like 4 years ago. Get this stuff out. I'm serious, but I mean it's all worth it, because I can just come up here and if I want to make 2 songs in a day, 3 songs in a day, I can do that. So it's good to work at home, man. It's great to work at home. I think it gets slept on. I want to ask y'all how you two met. How did you guys get everything started?
You want to take this one?
I'll take it.
Start it off, man.
So we've actually known each other for like a really long time. I feel like some people, just to preface, I feel like before they kind of just assume they're like, oh, you guys met like maybe a year or 2 ago and like the music thing's been going pretty good, so you guys are doing it. We're
that's
like,
what I assume. That's what I
right?
assuming. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually like went to the same middle school. I think Ryan was in like my 6th grade class.
Homeroom, yeah.
Way back.
And like our homeroom or whatever. And our town is like pretty small. Like our grade was like 80 or 90 kids or something. So like pretty much like, everyone and like you kind of have a good idea, where the person lives, who they hang out with, all like everything. So our like friend groups, I guess I was in like a smaller little cluster and he was in like a smaller little cluster. And then like our friend groups kind of combined. Then we had like a big group. And so like within the big group, like we would all hang out and stuff. And then eventually like him and I realized that we're like, oh, like me and you are a lot more alike than more of these other kids are. So then we started like hanging out a lot more together. And that kind of just persisted, kept going.
Hell yeah. And then what was the day or the moment that y'all were like, okay, we're gonna become an EDM duo? What made y'all say we're gonna pull that together? Because I feel like in EDM you wanna be like solo, you know what I mean? Like I don't know too many duos. The only duo I can think of is Daft Punk, you know what I mean? So like what made y'all say we're gonna collab on this?
Yeah. This story is literally, we're gonna tell this like till the day we die. So also just to go off of like the last question, we've been friends and we've been best friends for 13 years. Which is crazy because like I feel like you think about like how long you've been friends with some people and it's just like to keep a friendship going that long is, I don't know.
Damn,
it's
been
pretty uncommon
when you're working in the studio.
It's been a wild ride for sure. But back to your other question. So when we both went off to school where I met you, I was like making, I know, right? Both of us kind of just like did our own things. And like, we started just diving into like our different interests when it came to music, just like outside of band class. So, I mean, I had like a MacBook and I was like, you know, messing around with GarageBand, making like hip hop beats and like lo-fi stuff. And, you know, I knew nothing about EDM. That was freshman year. And he started getting into DJing. Fast forward to junior year of college, he was DJing some of the bars and clubs downtown, as well as like the fraternity he was in. And like at that point, like I was like making a lot more hip hop stuff with like Namdi Udoku and you know, Tyler and you. That's when we started making some of those projects together. There was a night where I was pretty drunk and he had talked to me about EDM before and he had started to introduce me to like all the different songs and all the different artists.
Like sophomore year.
Was it sophomore? No, it was junior. It was definitely junior year that we declared it, because then like both of us were just like, I think there was one.
It was like fall of junior year.
November. I was like, we should do this. Like, we should produce and DJ. And he was like in the middle of DJing that night. He was like, yeah. And then the next morning I woke up and I was like, remember when I said that? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so you still want to do that? He was like, yeah.
And it was kind of funny. I was like at the fraternity, I was in like playing to a room of probably like, I don't know, like 200 people or whatever. And he came up for the weekend and just like mid set, he's like, we should do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, word.
You're not gonna say no. Actually, of course, then but it's dope. The next day, like even after all the drunk words, it was still serious. That's how you know. That shit was gonna work out. So when y'all, the name wasn't Boslyk at first, it was Raw. What was the change to the name? Why'd you change the name? I mean, I could assume some reasons, but I want you guys to explain.
There was, I think it might have been that same year, Andrew was going down to, was it Cancun that year?
No, I think it was Bahamas.
So he's going to the Bahamas on spring break, and like he knew that there was going to be a lot of DJs there, and he knew that he was going to be able to talk to some of them, and like actually have like face-to-face conversations. So we're just like, oh, we got to get like flash drives of music, and like, you know, he'll be able to like schmooze and talk about music. And we're just like, we need a name. And both of us have always like had this like dream of having our own label. And I liked the name like Raw Music, just like to go off of like, you know, just like literally just the rawness of music, the honesty, the emotional aspect of it.
Oh yeah.
And we literally couldn't think of a name. So we literally just wrote that on the flash drives, and then it just like, and then we just kept saying it. So like, and then it just stuck for that while. But then we made the name change after like we talked to like a handful of people, and we also kind of just felt like we needed something that was more like unique to us. So
Yeah, I mean, look, man, my rap name used to be AMC. You know,
Yeah.
there's Monday Night Raw, so like I understand. Like you want to separate from any of the big. That's what I thought when I first saw the name. I thought Monday Night Raw. I don't know. I went
That's
to
what
wrestling.
everybody thinks.
Yeah,
Literally everybody.
Rolling papers, or like, you know, there's a lot of copy we are gonna face. So then we were like, we need something that we can Google and have just us come up.
Yeah.
So we were like looking for a really long time and like writing down, like we have a notebook somewhere in Ryan's basement that has like fucking 1,000 names just written down of like gibberish.
Nothing. Gibberish.
And so then we were like, all right, well, the music thing we've been doing for a while now. And then we've been best friends for a really long time. So we're like, let's draw something off of that. So it's like kind of a funny story. I think it was 6th grade. My dad took us to a baseball game. It was like a Paw Sox game. And we were hanging out at the game or whatever. And we went to go get like food or something. And we ended up running into the owner of the Paw Sox. And we kept like running into him throughout the day. And he kept calling me Boss and Ryan Slick. Like the whole, like just nicknames.
Okay.
So we're like, what could we do with that? So then we went back to the notebook, wrote out like 500 more variations of like how that could tie in. And then finally we wrote what the current one was. And we're like, this could work.
Yeah.
Nah, definitely, man. I that name sounds dope. When I saw it, I was like, okay, they're gonna switch it up. I see that. So I was definitely excited about that because it was you got And one thing I definitely like about you guys changing the name, you're aware of your fans, you're aware of your crowd, you listen to what the people are saying, so you're not shying away from that. And I think a lot of artists can take notes of that because sometimes they ain't listen to their fans. And like that's who you're giving your music to, you know what I mean? So it's definitely good
For
that
sure.
you're paying attention. Definitely. I want to ask you something, tailored to just like EDM. I feel like, I went to EZU last year, and I noticed there's this culture and a vibe to EDM that you just don't feel at a rock show that I've been to, or a rap show that I've been to, or pop shows that I've been to. Nothing is like an EDM festival show, any of that. So, from you two that are in the EDM world who do shows at all these events, why do you think EDM is so just like this cult following, or it feels like that? Why do you feel it's like that? How did it get to that point, you think?
Ooh.
I feel like
I had to drop that one.
Yeah.
Who wants to answer that one first?
Yeah, like a lot of genres can be like that. I feel like you obviously have a group that, is always going to hip hop shows, always repping like the artists there. You have people that are just like more prone to just going to like pop shows and stuff. But I feel like when it comes to dance music, like you definitely have a pretty identifiable following, I guess you could say. And I feel like some of that comes from a lot of dance music is about more like emotional things or like interpersonal things. And like the records are like a lot more just emotional overall. But if you look back, like a lot of dance music started out as like very underground. So you had like a lot of these like small kind of underground raves like all across the world. And it would just be these small groups of people that like would just get a call or a text from a friend at like 2 a.m. and they're like, hey, meet at this warehouse, we're having a show. So you ended up with like these very small clusters of people that were just like repping and supporting. And some of the people that ended up like hosting those shows ended up getting into actual legitimate companies to host festivals. So I feel like it's also in like
I would agree. It definitely evolved from being like this more like tight-knit community back in like, I think it was like the 80s, the 90s, like everything was like super underground, and it was like
back when like ignorant people called it techno.
That was like the
Literally,
main
yeah,
phrase for
dude.
EDM was techno.
Dude, we still get called techno. Like my mom still thinks we make techno.
like if you hear real techno, it's like it's like that's techno.
Yeah, legit. I think it's just I don't know. I think it's just evolved from, like he said, like, you know, being more underground to turning into this kind of like you know, community wide thing. But I think all like the major players for festivals and just like people, like the culture, I think everyone's just tried to continue to push it, and it's great. Like they're, like you said it best, like there really is no other vibe like an EDM show or an EDM festival.
Absolutely not. I mean,
There's like,
now you go, Andrew. You go.
oh yeah, there's like no better feeling than showing up to like a 3-day festival on the first day, and you just like walk into the gates with your friends, and you just like walk up to the stage and you start hearing the music getting like a little bit louder. You see the whole stage design. You see just everyone just, you know, everyone just seems very at ease and like happy to be there. And
yeah, it's just no drama, no bad vibes. Everybody is just in a great mood, and like that's definitely one thing I just took note, like the festival, and like I don't know if it was either Ryan or Andrew who said it, but you're saying like EDM is very like, you know, has that like, you know, deep stuff in the messaging and all that stuff. But I think that's what makes it go far, because like on top of that, you can dance to it. Like you can dance to a sad song. Like you can dance to a song that truly feels the way you feel. Like, and I think that's dope. It doesn't have to be a sad song that makes you want to just sit there and, you know, not move. You know, I think an EDM, that EDM can make you dance to whatever the topic's about. So I think that's another thing too, because like people like to joke about EDM lyrics, but it's like, like sometimes these songs, you know, they have their own messages to it. It's like, you know, don't say that. So
for sure. No, yeah, I think it also goes back to like, I think a lot of people, like when dance music started out, felt like they were kind of like outcasts, and I still feel like you go to an EDM festival and you cannot know a soul and like go up to somebody or go up to a group and just be like, hey, like I'm so and so, like what are your names? And like everyone is just like super connected, because it literally is like an escape, like to go to one of those festivals, to just like be yourself. Like everyone like just embraces and like supports like the individuality. Like that's why everyone's wearing like, I mean, like, you know, like crazy outfits, like masks, just like bandanas, get-ups, just like, you know, passing out candy. Like it's just a very welcoming community, and like no one feels like an outcast.
It's pretty crazy too. We have like friends now from like all across the United States, and even like some people that kind of live in like, you know, UK, Barcelona, like people that we've met that we keep up with, and like when one of us is going to an event, we'll hit them up and we'll be like, hey, like, are you going to be at like this event? And then, you know, maybe the last time you saw that person was at the last festival, and then the next time you're seeing the next one.
Yeah, it's just like festival buddies. Like we meet up once a year at this festival. Yeah, and I definitely noticed that about like Izu. Like I was telling people, it's my first time here. I ain't meet one person whose first time was there. Everybody been there 3, 4, 5 times. I'm like, I love that shit. And I was over there 2 nights, they there 3. I'm like, y'all love this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's just, you know, it was something I'm happy I opened my eyes to, because it just had me have a whole new respect and look on the genre. I already, you know, I've always loved EDM. I've always been a fan, but I mean, like, remember Dance Dance Revolution?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I used to play that game on my controller when I was a kid. So instead of playing on your feet, I played on my controller. And that's what made me like grow up, love EDM. I never told people that. So I'm my first time. I never told people this before.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Yeah. Yeah, I used to play on the PlayStation controller. And if anyone can relate to that, wow. Because that's not a thing people do. But let me not digress. I want to ask y'all about Circus. That's your newest single out. What made y'all come together and put that track out?
Sure. Honestly, like it was, I don't know, you know, as an artist, it's just like you sit down one day, it's just like you kind of sit down and like whatever you're feeling kind of goes like pen to paper. We had been listening to a lot of sets from like some of the festivals like over the summer. 'Cause I think we wrote it. Did we start in like October, September?
I think it was around October because we were listening to like a lot of like similar sounding records of like technically like Psycho Circus is like a bass house record. So we were like on that wave for a while, and we were kind of just thinking, we're like, we really feel like we want to write something that's within this genre. Because the first single that we put out like way back in January of the previous year, it was like a bass house record, and we had been working on like a lot more slower, more emotional kind of records, and we're like, we really just want to write something kind of crazy and angry and just kind of in your face.
Like man. the word we kept going back to is like, it's just chaotic. Like it's just chaotic house. Like, and like we listened to like a couple of records and we were just like, we wrote down and like, we pretty much wrote the whole thing in probably like 2 weeks time. Like we sat down one day and we wrote almost the entire thing. And it was like, damn, that felt really good. But like, we felt like we kind of had to tie it together with some type of like vocal aspect, but we really couldn't like come up with like, it's definitely a different process to try to come up with vocals for that kind of tune that's angry and chaotic and like have it fit all together. But one thing that like we have like been influenced by for sure is like taking dialogue from like older movies and TV shows that like we've been able to find and like, you know, like, oh, like that's dope, like let's try to incorporate that into the music. So like there was one day, you know, I like was just home and I was like just sifting through like public domain movies that like, you know, we don't have to clear. I stumbled upon this movie called Circus of Fear, and I like watched it, like I like kind of went part by part, and I was like, can I picture that in the song? You know what I mean? Kind of just leading up to it. And the whole movie was basically just about how like they were trying to like, there was basically criminals hiding in the circus and the police were like onto it and they were trying to figure out who it was. So, I mean, like I basically got enough sound bites and like basically stringed it all together, all different parts of the movie for it to kind of make sense. You know, and then we're just like, word. And they're like, what are we gonna call it? And we're just like, I feel like we have to put circus in the name.
Had to.
You know, and like I don't know if you can tell, but like in the second drop of the song, there's like as soon as like the downbeat hits in the drop, there's this like sound that goes and it's literally like it's literally an elephant from the movie.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of the song I was hearing. That's tight. Hell yeah, man. That's dope. That's dope. Cause I heard that song, I was like, ooh, this is like I was bobbing to it, man. Yeah, it's mean. Yeah, that's the way to describe it, man. Definitely. I mean, I love that vibe for sure, man. Wow, I'm looking at the time, like 30 minutes just went past like that. It's crazy. But I want to ask you just a couple more questions before we get out of here. Like I said, you know, quarantine going on, so don't knock over the table. What do you guys have planned next? How do you see yourselves navigating through these times for the future?
Sure. You know, I think for right now, for the foreseeable future, it's just going to be, you know, working independently with whatever that looks like in terms of like social media content. Like we basically FaceTime almost like every day when we work. And then we're working over our laptops. You know, that's about it. It's just like, you know, and if we want to do collabs, it's just like, all right, if that person has access to a studio and a mic, word. If they don't, well, then we got to wait. So
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, ain't shit changed for the producers and the music makers out here, really. Just a different way to do it.
Legit.
Yeah, man. Like I said, no excuses out here, y'all. For all the artists listening, you got no excuse to put out content out here, man. Definitely learn the mix and all that stuff if you got to. But let me ask one more thing. Well, it's not really it's a big question, but anything you want to plug for the people? Anything you want to let the people know where to follow you at? What you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, we just put out Psycho Circus last week.
Make sure y'all bump that.
Definitely check that out. You can find it pretty much all your major streaming platforms. Right with the rest of that is the rest of our music too. So, you know, if Psycho Circus being like that angry kind of in your face chaotic tune isn't your vibe, we got definitely some more chill shit out there. We put out an EP in November that's a little bit lighter. So if that's more your vibe, definitely check that out. And then you can find us. We're probably the most active on Instagram. So if you want to find us there, it's just at Boslyk _official.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
I heard it all there. I heard it there.
Yeah, and then the only last thing I'll say is that we got a good tune coming along with our friend Aaron Cronin, or Cronin, as his artist name is. So definitely be on the lookout for that this summer.
Okay. Hell yeah. So plans for the future, plans right now. I like it. Boslyk in the building, in the Zoom. I don't know how to say it, but in the Zoom, that works better because you're not in the building.
There you go. Yeah.
Happy to have y'all on. I wish we could have done this under different circumstances, but obviously, you know, it is what it is. But we made it happen. You know. So I'm glad we had it all together.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, no problem, y'all. No problem.
It's just like that's kind of the theme of the quarantine, you know, just making it happen.
Yeah, man, that's really what it is. Like, you gotta find a way. We got the technology to do it. There's a way to make it happen. So I mean, you know, here we are. You know, we got the episode down, episode 64. You know what I'm saying? So, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, y'all. That's the end of that. I feel like we could have definitely made. I had other questions I had to ask, but I was like, shoot, like we're about to go overtime, but. Hey, you know, we got a good one in. Happy to have y'all on. Make sure y'all tune in next week for another one, all right? Peace out.
Peace. Thanks for having us.